This is a Fox News alert. I'm Ashley Strohmeyer live from New York. President Trump just tweeted moments ago that he and the First Lady have tested positive for the coronavirus. It follows news that top aide Hope Hicks, who traveled with the president multiple times this week, had tested positive. This includes aboard Marine One, the presidential helicopter, and on Air Force One to a rally in Minnesota Wednesday, and then aboard Air Force One to Tuesday night's first presidential debate in Cleveland. Hicks is said to be quarantining at home and is reportedly experiencing symptoms. Multiple White House staffers have tested positive for the virus in the past. This includes Katie Miller, Vice President Mike Pence's press secretary, the National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien, and one of the president's personal valets. Once again, President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump getting tested for the coronavirus after Hope Hicks becomes the most senior White House official to test positive for the coronavirus so far. As I said, they have tested positive. President Trump tweeted that not too long ago. The virus has killed more than 200,000 Americans and infected more than 7 million nationwide. Now, joining us on the phone is the senior White House producer, Kelly Shanane-Cove. Kelly, what can you tell us about this? This is, in the past 5 minutes or so, this news.
Yes, we've actually been waiting to hear from the White House. They do say that there's a memo of some sort that will be coming. It looks like the White House will probably provide a little bit more context, hopefully, on this, because we obviously have a lot of questions about the timeline and sort of what happens from here. But the president did tweet that he tested positive along with the First Lady. Their procedure at the White House is one that a lot of our journalists who work there are familiar with, which is one where they use the Avid rapid test. In fact, this week the president himself was just touting that. They are planning to distribute them nationwide. And the president frequently uses that. He's tested, as he says, on camera all the time. He has tested very frequently. So we don't know whether that first test, possibly, which comes back in about 15 minutes, tested positive, and then they did a secondary test. We don't really know how sort of he learned that this was the case, but we do know that he did travel today. This was after the positive test of Hope Hicks, so that test was confirmed the day before, last evening, is what we're hearing from other reporting, not from our network, but from other reporting. We're hearing that that's the case. So afterwards, he did travel today. He went to a closed fundraiser and came back. So we're still waiting to learn more, but we're hoping to get some context from that memo that's coming out.
And then as far as when you say, obviously he does tout the rapid test quite frequently, maybe reiterate one more time, did he take the rapid test? Do we know? Has he taken a nasal swab? Because that is what is supposed to be the most effective.
Well, they do the rapid testing at the White House. We don't know, and we don't want to jump to conclusions what kind of testing he did in this case. We have no context, but he does talk about that testing, and we know that it is used at the White House, so it is possible that that is what happened, and then possibly a secondary test was performed. It's really sort of a process of assumption only because of the fact that he is touting it. Just this week he was out there with Admiral Giroux and the Rose Guard touting the widespread use of this, and we know that they use rapid testing there. So we don't know for sure if that's the case what he used, but hopefully we're going to have a lot more context on what this means. He has a full travel schedule that he was supposed to do. Tomorrow he was supposed to go to Florida, Wisconsin over the weekend. I mean, obviously this is going to have a big effect on his campaign, and we don't know how long he'll be in quarantine. Obviously, it's 14 days is what we usually hear as the standard, but we're going to have to find out what's going to happen in his case. We don't know when he was exposed, and obviously he's our president, so we need to see how he fares, and, you know, the country's obviously wishing him well.
And do we know by chance how many rallies he has planned in the next couple of weeks? I know he's been doing 2 a day so far. And also, just to follow up on that, has he come in contact with Mike Pence that we are aware of?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of a very recent event where they were at the same spot. Not to say that didn't happen. And I'm sorry, what was the first part of your question?
How many rallies do we know of that are scheduled for the near future? I mean, I know he's been doing 2 a day at least. Right.
And it's basically only picking up. They had promised us something like a dozen rallies within the coming week or so. So, yeah, he has been planning multiple stops, jumping from, within one state, doing a couple of events within one state, then overnighting at another location. So it's the kind of thing that obviously will cut into his travel schedule. and maybe something that we're concerned first and foremost about his health, of course, but it's something that he will have to adjust to on the campaign trail, and we know from what he says publicly that'll be very frustrating for him.
And obviously, a very big concern for his health, and there's no known information about if he's symptomatic or asymptomatic, is there?
No, we no, definitely not. We don't know anything along those lines and don't want to jump to that. I mean, by the way, the president has described it simply from his tweets. It's something that is, they're taking extra precautions, trying to sort of follow the protocol that you do when you test positive. So,
right. I'm looking at his Twitter right now, and the internet is going crazy over this. But if you're just now joining us, a couple of minutes ago, President Trump tweeted that he has tested positive along with Melania Trump for coronavirus. And we were just speaking. Yeah.
From the president's physician. It is literally just coming out right now. I'm just going to read it to you.
Yeah.
It's from Sean Connolly, the physician to the president, the commander of U.S. Navy. And the subject is the president and the first lady. We can't forget that she's also involved. She also tested positive. The statement says, I released the following information with the permission of Donald Trump and the first lady. This evening, I received confirmation that both President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump has tested positive for the SARS-CoV-2 virus. The President and First Lady are both well at this time, and they plan to remain home within the White House during their convalescence. The White House medical team and I will maintain a vigilant watch, and I appreciate the support provided by some of our country's greatest medical professionals and institutions. Rest assured, I expect the President to continue carrying out his duties without disruption while recovering, and I will keep you updated on future developments.